I've been asked the question quite frequently, what do you do if you are sitting at traffic lights and you see emergency vehicle lights flashing behind you? The instinct is to drive through the red light and get out of the way. However, that's not really legal. In fact, it's not legal at all. It's not an excuse if you've got an emergency vehicle behind you to run through a red light or to contravene any other road traffic regulation for that matter. However, I would like to think that there will be some kind of judgment exercised by police in particular situations, but that would be a risky strategy. The safe strategy would be to stick to the letter of the law and not to go through a red light if you've got an emergency vehicle coming up behind you. However, let's have a sensible conversation about this. If you've got an emergency ambulance or fire engine or even police car sitting behind you, blasting the horn at you, hoping that you will move out of the way, there is absolutely no way you can move to the left or to the right, because remember, you shouldn't really be mounting the curb and causing danger to anybody else either. You shouldn't be moving to the right-hand side in the flow of other traffic, because that would also be causing a danger to somebody else. And strictly speaking, you shouldn't be going through the red light either. But either way, let's say the emergency vehicle behind you absolutely needs to get through, and the only option is for you to go through this red light. Now, if you went through the red light and you are caught on some kind of camera or by some other zealous police officer or traffic officer, who then in turn prosecutes you for going through the red light, it will all be a question of whether or not you had a reasonable excuse and whether it really was in the public interest to prosecute you for going through the red light to allow the emergency vehicle to get out of the way. Now, all this is going to be determined on the facts as to did you or did you not cause a danger to other road users, on top of whether, strictly speaking, you contravened the red light. So ultimately, if you do end up in court because you went through the red light to allow the emergency vehicle to come through, it is going to be incumbent on you to show that you allowed the path for the emergency vehicle, and whilst doing so, you are not causing danger to another road user. The only fully legal and fully safe way of allowing an emergency vehicle to pass is simply to move over to the side of the road as much as you can and allow them to pass. But we all know that there are some situations where the only option would be to go through this red light. So I cannot, of course, encourage anyone to do that, but if you find yourself in that position, you must make a note and report the situation so that this is why you've done it, and you will have a contemporaneous note of what you've done, why you've done it, and the fact that there was no immediate danger to any other road user at the time. Ideally, you would also get the details from another road user who could produce a witness statement to the same effect to establish that there was no danger to any other road user. Now, conversely, the situation where you simply don't want to move out of the way and help the emergency vehicle get through could amount to an offence by itself. The Emergency Workers Obstruction Act of 2006 makes it an offence to hinder or obstruct an emergency services vehicle. That doesn't mean you should commit a driving offence in order to get out of the way, but it does mean that you should consider the route of the emergency vehicle when taking action to allow it to pass, moving over safely, slowing down, which means you don't stop in the middle of the road, you don't just stop where you are and wait and allow them to move past. You do move over so much as it is safe to do so, but that also doesn't mean you can go into yellow box junctions, it doesn't mean you can mount the curb, and it doesn't mean that you can go through red lights. So the main thing to bear in mind is that you should not panic and you should move over as safely and calmly as you possibly can. And remember, it is not just police cars, ambulances and fire trucks that have emergency lighting. It can also be the Forestry Commission, at least when they're fighting fires, Ministry of Defence vehicles, even Special Forces vehicles responding to national security threats, the Coast Guard, lifeboat vehicles, mountain rescue, and even HM Revenue and Customs when they are investigating serious crimes. In addition, doctors may also have green emergency flashing lights, but these, remember, do not grant them any special exemptions from normal traffic laws, including red lights. So I hope that helps to clarify the situation. The strict letter of the law is you cannot and must not go through a red light. However, if you feel that you are forced to do so, remember that you may one day have to stand in court and justify the reasons why you did so, the fact that it was an emergency vehicle, and that you were not causing danger to any other road user or anyone else in your actions. And hopefully, common sense will prevail. So as always, please remember to subscribe, and thanks for watching.